Hey guys. All right. So the first thing I want to talk to you about today is how I'm going to grade you in American Lit. I know that grades are really important to you guys, and I grade everything. All the 11th grade teachers, we grade everything what is called holistically. And so I'm just going to talk through this sheet. This is also posted on your Google Classroom, but it explains my grading system and what holistic grading is. So holistic grading is basically when I look at a paper and I'm assessing its progress toward mastery. What that means is that I, as a teacher, believe that learning follows sort of a cycle. We go from not knowing something to sort of knowing something to knowing it and then to knowing it really well. And so what I'm assessing is where are you on the path to mastery, right? So that's what holistic grading allows me to do. And it allows me to look at the big picture rather than looking at little details of your writing and of your thinking. So basically what I do is I consider the overall quality of the assignment. Whatever standards I'm looking for, I'm looking at them all together, right? I'm looking maybe at your grammar, your organization, your content, your topic, all of the standards that we're covering for that assignment, I'm looking at once. And these components factor into a holistic grade. So I'm not going to take off like 2 points for every comma or something like that. I'm going to look at your understanding of grammar as a whole. Do you not understand it at all? Do you sort of understand it? Do you have a pretty good grasp of grammar, or is it absolutely excellent? Right? Where are you? That's what I'm looking at. Where are you in the journey? Of course, our goal is to move ourselves along the journey. So that's why I use holistic grading. This type of grading can be applied to both formative and summative assessments, and it is what I use for both of them. So you can get used to that. It'll be the only way I grade everything that we grade in here. My students always love it. I think that you'll love it too. And here's basically the way the grades will look that you're going to receive. So on the holistic rubric, let's actually start at the bottom. Okay, so let's start at the bottom. So if you get a 1 on something, it means you do not know it. You do not yet meet that standard. Something about the product that you produced or things about the product that you produce show a lack of understanding over the standards that we're covering. Most of the time, the ones that I get are actually from a lack of effort, not from a lack of knowing. So I would like to challenge you to never turn in a 1. I've already looked through all of your data. I've looked at all of your Lexile scores and your test scores, and there is not a single person in this class who should be making 1s on anything. So a 1 would probably just be a lack of effort on your part. And usually when I get a 1, I actually don't even grade it. I just send it back to you and say, hey, let's rework this thing and turn it back in. Bottom line is 1 means you do not meet the standard. And there's some more information about that there. A 2 is a more common grade. A 2 would mean you're emerging. You show some understanding of what we're looking for. You show some understanding of how to write correct sentences. You show some understanding of major themes. You show some understanding of having read the text, right? It means you're emerging. You're adequate. It's fine, okay? In the grade book, a 1 would be a 65, though I do not give 65s for just a sentence, so there is some variation there. But a 1 is not a passing grade. A 2 is a passing grade, but it's going to be your C level grade, right? Because C is fine. It's fine. You're emerging. Okay. The next grade that you might get would be a 3. A 3 means that you meet the standards. If this is starting to sound a little familiar to you, it's probably because this is exactly how you were graded in elementary school. And before you get mad at me and say, we're juniors now, we shouldn't be graded like elementary school, I do want to point out to you that they actually were connecting this to your learning. I think in high school, sometimes grades get really abstract. Have you ever gotten back a paper and made like a 71 on it? Just a random 71? And I always wonder, what is the difference between a 71 and a 74 in writing? So for this, instead of us thinking about random grades, we're thinking about where you are toward mastery, right? So on a 3, you meet the standard. You get it, right? You understand the standard of the standards. Okay, maybe it's not as fully developed as I would like it to be, but it is proficient. You are showing me that you write, read, think on an 11th grade level, and therefore you earn a 3. And in the grade book, a 3 is an 85. So again, to go back through, a 3 is a B. It means you meet the standards, you get it, you're proficient. Okay. A 2 means you're emerging, you're adequate, right? The thing that you turned in is fine. Okay. And it earns a 75 in the grade book. And a 1 means you don't get it. You're not there yet. And if you give me a full effort, but you still don't get it, that would be a 65 in the grade book. Now, if you write me a sentence, I'm just going to give you a 0. I'm just going to send it back and say, hey, fix this. Okay. You've got a little bit of flexibility during this digital learning time with when you turn things in. I'm asking to make sure I have everything for the week by Sunday of the weekend after the week. So that gives you a little bit of extra time. So you've got a little bit of wiggle room. So I would prefer it to be like a couple days late than I would for it to be a 1, right? I want your best work, even if it's a couple days late. All right. And then a 4, which I know is what we're all aiming for here, means you exceed the standards. Your work shows accurate, in-depth understanding of the standards. You show higher order thinking, mastery. It is exemplary. The word exemplary means I would use your work as the example. Like I would post your work in Google Classroom and say, everybody should be doing what this kid is because it's awesome. And that is a 4. A 4 exceeds the standard. It goes above and beyond what I expect from an 11th grade student. So to earn a 4, you will need to put in a 4 level work. All right. So looking at this, guys, it says, why holistic grading? So by grading this way, the student and teacher are able to focus on growing. If you make a 2 on something, we know that you're not there yet and we need to push you. I know I need to push you. If I look down your grades and I see 75, 75, 75, 75, 75, I realize you're not growing, right? You're staying exactly the same. And so I can think, what am I doing wrong? Also, if you see 65, 65, 65, 65, 65, you might want to evaluate like, am I really concentrating? Am I making a designated space to learn? Or do I need to do something different, right? And then the other thing is that it shows I can really assess your higher order thinking skills. I can look at everything at once, and it gives you a chance to take greater ownership. You are going to be able to evaluate your own work soon. You'll be able to, before you turn it in, if it's a 2, a 3, or a 4. And I'm going to be asking you to do some self-evaluation and some peer evaluation. And so I really believe that assessing your own work is a skill you really need, because when you get out of school and you're in a job or you're in college or tech school or the military, whatever you want to do, being able to assess how you're doing is really, really important. You don't want to be one of those people who's like, I'm doing great, but you aren't. Obviously, there will be some variations in numerical grading. Like I could say, this is exemplary, but there is this one sentence that's kind of a mess. So I can't give it a 95, but I'm going to give it a 92. So I might give you a 4 minus 92, or a 4 plus 98, or a 2 plus, which could be a 78, right? So you'll see some variation in the grading there. The other thing that I want you to understand is that you are allowed to revise anything. I'm going to say that again. You are allowed to revise anything. Okay. So if you get a 2 and you make a 75 and you realize it probably was emerging, but you see what you did wrong after I give you feedback and you want to revise it and resubmit it, I will give you the new grade. Okay, I'll give you the new grade so that you learn and you move up. So maybe you go from a 2 to a 3. And what that does for me as an instructor and what that does for you as a learner is that it bumps you along, right? And it moves you to the next stage of mastery. And then hopefully the next time you're graded, you can make a 3 again because you've learned what you did wrong. Hopefully you won't go back to a 2. But if you do, we can give you feedback and bump you back to a 3. Some of you out there might be saying, but I need to make higher than a 95. Well, that's fine. If you make a 4, a 95, and you want to revise it, I will give you some specific feedback and I help you revise it. And you can revise it up to a 100 if that's what you want to do. So you can revise anything, okay, within the week that it's due. So if you turn everything in the last minute, you're going to miss that chance for revising. If you turn everything in the day, I'll have everything back to you within 48 hours and you'll be able to revise things. So please take advantage of that opportunity. I don't give extra credit in American literature, but my extra credit is from letting you revise. So that is the way that you will be scored and assessed in this class. This document is posted in your classroom, so you can take a look at it at any point. And if you have any questions at all, email me, send me a remind message. Give me a comment on your paper, ask me questions, ask for a Google Meets. I am more than willing to work with you. I really believe revision is where the learning happens. So I want you to revise and I want you to always understand how you can do better. I am the happiest if everyone makes an A in my class. Because it means that everyone is performing at an exemplary level, and that is what I want. My goal for you is to make you a better reader, writer, and thinker. I've said that before and you'll hear it from me again. And holistic grading really helps me get there. I think you'll love it. I think your parents will like it and understand it. And I think you're going to see it reflected in your grades. So work with me, get this work in. Let me give you some feedback and let's move toward mastery on all of these standards. Thanks, guys.